Ahoy captains! In this video I'll be talking about the upcoming CV Rework, and this will be about version 2. I'll discuss what I like and what I dislike, and at the same time in the background you'll see certain clips of what I'm talking about. So for example, if I'm talking about AA, you'll see AA focused gameplay. I'll just show you whatever I'm talking about. So let's start with the actual carrier gameplay, because it's all about ships after all. But wait, the ship gameplay actually isn't that good. Whenever you are flying in a plane, in the old CV gameplay you could return to your carrier and move manually and whatever and whatnot. Well, that's gone. In the rework you can only play as your carrier whenever you are not in a plane. So you're flying one squadron, like many of you know by now, and if you want to play as your carrier for, I don't know, damage control, or want to activate your defensive AA, or manually move your carrier in a certain position, then you will have to recall your planes. Also, the problem of the aircraft carrier is, because you can only move with autopilot during your flight, if you crash into an island, you will be stuck, because autopilot for some reason can't reverse your ship, and that's kind of a problem if you beach and you have to move. So keep that in mind. It's called World of Warships, but the ship gameplay actually is not that good, so I hope they can change it so your planes will stay in the air, but at the same time you can move your carrier or activate defensive AA, which is now not really possible, except if you give up your attack. Furthermore, the AA. Let's start with the focus fire. Normally you could use Control and left click to select a squadron you would like to attack. You can focus either your left or your right flank, and with focusing it means one side will do more damage and one side will do less damage, or maybe it's about the accuracy of the AA. I don't know. I don't really know what's focusing, what it increases, but it's probably the damage, or at least you'll shoot them easier down. However, a carrier can attack from the right side, focus the right side, but then the carrier attacks from your left side because he flies over you and he returns to you because you use damage control or whatever. But your AA, if you want to move your focus fire to the other side, you will have to wait 20 or 30 seconds depending on your class. That's kind of annoying, because most of the times a carrier will drop from the right and then from the left and then the right again or whatever. So what I mostly do is I don't touch this at all, and I'll leave my AA neutral, so both sides will do 100% of damage instead of 160 and 40 on the other side, for example. So I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it, but it's fine for if you're really sure that the carrier will attack you from a certain side. Then on... Oh, wait, the AA, still. We are still here with the AA, because you have short, medium and long range. They kind of reworked this AA as well. Like, the short range is the machine guns, and they will do consistent damage. So a ship does, I don't know, 20 damage with the short range, then it is always every second 20 damage, except if AA is destroyed, of course. So whenever you fly into the short range AA zone, you will always get damaged. On the other side, there's the medium and long range AA, which are the flak guns. You can avoid it, and it's kind of a good part, so you have to maneuver your way in, but you can always just move into the flak. You don't really know where it will puff out. My problem with this is there's still too much RNG with the AA. Short range is just consistent, so that's a good part. But the medium and long range AA is still RNG. Even if people say that you can avoid it, no you can't. Sometimes you attack a DD and 2 of your planes die instantly by a flag cloud. But the other time you attack a Wooster and a Montana and nothing happens at all. So I don't really see how people can say this is like non-RNG based. Which it obviously is. And there's my second problem of the rework. Your planes can't move up and down, so there's no real 3D aspect of air combats. Like, planes can fly up and down, not just left and right, but in this game they can only fly left and right, so that's the only maneuver you've got for flag. Wow, it would be much more fun and intense if you could fly up and down as well, so you could avoid flag better. Next to the RNG of flag, there's also a new type of plane called the, well, rocket planes, I guess. Well, they are even more RNG than dive bombers. The dive bombers are pretty RNG based, but now there is the rocket plane, and you will see a circle whenever you are on an attack run, and your rockets can land anywhere in that circle. So it's not like they're all landing in the middle or whatever. No, they will all land across that circle, which can be resulting into 0 hits or 10 on the other side. It's just more random than dive bombers, which are still RNG based. But now there's even more RNG. Well, I'm not a big fan of them. They don't do that much of damage and they don't set that many fire. The dive bombers, however, they are still pretty random, but you can almost land on top of an enemy ship and drop bombs. So if he isn't that much evading, you can pretty much calculate your hits. I mean, in the background you will see Yamato with around 20k HP, and with only 4 HE bombs, he's dead. Which is pretty strange. So maybe the HE bombs are a bit too strong, or they are too accurate, I don't know. Well, they can do a lot of damage if you hit the right part of a ship. Then of course there are also the torpedo bombers. New ones are the deep water torpedo bombers. They are pretty nice, but you have to lead a lot, and with the airplanes, people do know you are dropping on them, so that it's not a surprise. Like, the whole point of deep water torpedoes is that you will surprise the enemy with less reaction time. But now, if you see planes dropping and then ascending again, they know you are dropping them, so they will move. But with the rise of 2 new airplane types, there's also one gone. I'm talking about fighters. Fighters are now a consumable. You can't fly them yourself. You have to call in, and then they will circle for 2 or 3 minutes in a small circle on the position you called them. You can deny certain areas for the enemy, because once you fly into that circle, the fighters will do a good amount of damage, and they will follow your planes or the enemy planes when they got in the circle. So you're not safe from them if you were outside the circle. They will follow you for a while, I believe. Also the problem, you don't call them in on a certain position where you like them, which would be much better in my opinion. You just call them wherever you are. So if you want to have the fighters in a certain position, you have to fly yourself there before, then call in the fighters, and then you can attack again. So it takes a quite amount of time if you want to position your fighters tactical. Sure, it's nice, but it takes away the immersion. It's just flying again. And my whole problem with this rework is that you are flying the whole time. It gets a bit boring. There's no thing you have to worry about. In the old CV gameplay you would watch your fighters and avoid enemy fighters, but now it's just flying to a target, attack the target and repeat. It's got me bored pretty quickly, so I hope there will be some changes. Taking away the fighters is really not a good idea though, in my opinion, but I get it because you can only fly one squadron. So if fighters were flyable, you would only have either defensive or an offensive squadron. And now it's just offensive, which is also the next problem of this rework, the spotting. The spotting is pretty much gone. You can't select a squadron, let them fly on top of an enemy destroyer or something to spot him for your team. Now it's just you attack or you don't attack and spot. But that's the whole problem. You need a CV also to attack targets, to damage them or force damage control. And when you only have one squadron, it's hard to choose between spotting for the team or do as much damage as you can, as that's your job in this rework actually. The spotting is also less because even if your planes are flying back to the carrier, they will fly very high up in the air, so they can't be shot down, but they also don't spot enemies. It's a bit annoying because you can't choose them to stay, they just fly back automatically. So I don't see the CV being in competitive that much. And well, since the skill floor is low as well, there might be more people playing it, but they are not really going to do much. The problem here is the CV versus CV is gone, because now it's just you attack ships, he attacks ships, or she. And that's it. There's no combat against the other CV, it's just attack ships. Which is the whole point, of course, of this rework, getting this skill floor down. So many more people can play CV, and a good CV isn't that big of a deal anymore. But in this game, or this rework, the skill, well, there is almost no skill, and that's frightening. And I know I'm pretty negative about this rework, but there's also the problem of infinite carrier space. In history, a hangar would have a maximum amount of space, but in this rework your planes do fill whenever they are lost. So you will have infinite plane, which I have to admit is also a good thing, because you can't be deplaned anymore. In this rework you will always have some planes, maybe not enough if you lose them instantly, but after a certain amount of time you will regenerate some plane. So it's a nice addition, but from historical standpoint it isn't really the strongest. Gameplay wise it's a good decision actually. Maybe surface ships don't like it because they can always be attacked. If your planes manage to survive an attack run and they all come back, you have your planes back again. So the more planes you keep alive, the more planes you can use in your next attack run. Then another negative point. I know, it's getting a lot, but I'm not really a fan of this rework yet. Your planes will have a detection too. So for example, if another plane enters your detection circle, you get in the middle of the screen a detection warning. But that's for your planes. Your carrier detection is in the left down corner, together with your HP and if you're on fire and your speed, all that stuff. And I know it's pretty easy, but you have to know it. That's more the problem. It's not visible enough. Well, if your CV dies, then of course you can't really play anymore, and your CV should be the most important, not your planes being detected. I mean, that's pretty obvious. If AA starts shooting at you, of course you're detected. So my main problem is that you sometimes don't know that you are being attacked or spotted. But I still do have something positive to say. in the old CV gameplay, if your carrier dies, then your planes either do an auto drop or they don't attack at all and they just keep flying in circles. But now, if your CV dies and you still have a squadron in the air, you can still attack until the planes are empty and your squadron is gone. Or if they all get shot down, of course. So if you just launch a new squadron before you die, then you can actually still have a pretty good attack run. It's not all negative from my part, but most of the things are actually. Another nice mechanic is that you can cancel attacks. Whenever your attack fails because you launch too early or you see that your drop will miss, you can cancel the attack by doing nothing. Your planes will continue the attack run, but as long as you don't click, then they don't attack. And they will fly back up and rejoin the group, squadron, and they will stay in your squadron then, so you can launch another attack. You can also do this if the target dies, who you want to attack, stuff like that. So that's pretty nice that you can just cancel it and not that you drop and then, well, goodbye planes. So a quick summary of the good and bad things are: so well, that's my opinion about the version 2 of Rework, and I hope you enjoyed and see you next time.